And we are recording.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, and I'd like to call to order the October 19th, 2021 Hideaway Hills Board of Trustees meeting. I have a couple of amendments to the agenda that I would like to introduce. One is to add Rex Everly under new business for an update on a lake enhancement project. And the other one is to amend the executive session where it says committee guidelines to change that to legal threat to remove committee chair. Can I have a motion
I'm sorry.
to amend the
Say the
agenda?
last part again, please.
Legal threat to remove committee chair.
Under committee guidelines.
Yep. Omit committee guidelines and replace it with legal threat to remove committee chair.
Make a motion that we adopt the amended agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Mary Beth, seconded by Linda Lonzinger. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Thank you. President's report. Like to throw out some thanks this week or this month. One is to the management committee. The chip and seal looks great as always. I understand it's still a work in progress. And we've got some sweeping of some residual limestone to get off the roads, but it looks great. Also with that is the work that's being done by the road safety subcommittee as well to work with you guys to replace whatever lines were covered up by said chip and seal. I'd like to thank the Lakes Committee and all the volunteers for another successful boat removal that happened this past Saturday. Weather held out and everything went according to plan. I've even seen some diagrams as to where the boats are parked down there in the storage area. So nice job there. I want to commend Linda Hodge on all the video related activity and work that you put into it since last we met. Linda's been instrumental in getting our new equipment purchased and getting it to the point where it's all functional. Hasn't been without its little blips. We experienced a situation the other night during the management committee meeting, and we called Linda on the fly, and she dropped what she was doing and came up here and helped us get it functional. So I think we've got it worked out. I think we need another box because we can't fit everything we need to into the current one so that we can keep it locked up. But kudos to you because I know you put a ton of work into that. Yep. The basketball court rework is starting to get donations. Last I looked, it was up to $700, and I know for a fact that there have been a couple other donations made since then. It appears as though that's going to be a springtime project, so hopefully we'll be ready to go by then. The good thing is that there's not a whole lot to a basketball court. You need a good flat surface, and you need the backboards, the rims, and the posts. So good things happening there. Last but not least, I want to wish Jeff Harper continued recovery. He is scheduled to be back here soon, and commend the gals in the office for keeping things moving while he was out. And that's all I have. Any questions? Okay. Linda, review of the September board minutes in motion.
I make a motion to approve the September minutes.
I'll second. Cabot.
Seconded by Cabot. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. We'll move now to correspondence. Linda, that's yours as well.
We did have some correspondence this time. three things. I've not read out loud since I was in the third grade, so bear with me here. We got one letter on October the 11th that said, I think personally that was a great email to answer all of the questions that one may have. I feel sure it addressed many concerns we needed during this time of unrest. Sincerely, Karen Pence. We had one on October 12th. Hello, Chaz. Thanks for the Q&A document. Very clear and informative. I'm not sure why there is so much controversy regarding the board actions on the violations by 2 board members. I think the board has acted appropriately. I believe most HA residents, owners, appreciate the job done by the board. HAH is a superb community thanks to the dedicated efforts of our board. I have served on a community board for years, and I know how hard it is to satisfy everyone. It's probably not possible. You folks are doing a good job. Please keep it up, and thanks for your service. That's Andy Norman, 315 Taos. And then October 18th. Dear Board, I'm writing to provide information about the current petition effort to remove 2 trustees. For anyone who has only received information about the petition to remove Annie Kerrigan and Lindy Longear via Facebook or word of mouth, you are not getting all the facts. The effort to remove these trustees began shortly after the August 2020 board was sworn in. When Linda Longear became president, it came to her attention that there was an overage in the dam expenditures that was known only by the past president and management committee chair, but certain individuals tried to blame Linda and Annie, claiming that they lied about not knowing this deficit in order to pass the assessment increase. Sorry, bifocals are hard when it's tiny print. Since both had been on the board the previous year. This is entirely untrue, but this story was repeated and embellished by a group of individuals in online forums, and Linda's attempt at total transparency via e-blast and video were derided by these same individuals who never directed blame for the issue to previous leadership where it resided. Also, in August 2020, this group started making claims that certain trustees were using private board communication to discriminate against and slander members, planting the seeds that were the fruit in the current petition. Throughout the spring of 2021, these trustees were again under attack, both online and through numerous letters to the board, accusing trustees of going after other trustees, targeting individuals, sharing confidential information, and additional accusations that were defamatory and libelous in nature. In spite of those attacks, the board remained focused and carried out their business. Fast forward to summer and the upcoming election. Linda Longear graciously informed the community that some candidates were ineligible because of being in arrears, thereby giving them time to correct their deficiencies prior to the slate being announced. This too was criticized as calling out members when in fact she could have let delinquency stand and eliminated delinquent candidates. During this time, written complaints against Annie, Linda, and also Sue Pyle continued to be sent to the board. On July 15th, 2021, the office received a letter from a law firm representing one of the board candidates claiming certain trustees and committee members violated the HAH Code of Ethics and Code of Regulations and demanded the board remove these individuals from their committee and board positions for the continued harassment against the candidate. I was one of 6 women named in this letter, which also included Annie Kerrigan and Sue Pyle. The letter claimed we threatened and harassed the candidate by talking about him, texting about him, portraying him in a negative light, sharing quotes and comments from his legal proceedings, and in my case, threatening to divulge the candidate's legal business to the community. It was the day following the receipt of this letter that Annie Kerrigan made the Facebook post that resulted in her censure. The unanimous board censure was not satisfactory for the individuals who've been working for a year and a half to remove Linda and Annie, so the next step was to create a petition. The petition seeks to remove Annie Kerrigan because she besmirched 3 candidates explicitly: Eric Lapp, a current trustee seeking an additional term, and new applicants Greg Blank and Stephanie Wolf. That was in quotes. The petition claims Annie had violated the Code of Ethics by sharing confidential information and that her actions damaged the candidacy and reputation of the aforementioned individuals, as well as irreparably tainting the results of the election. Linda is added to the petition as an afterthought for not keeping her house in order, also in quotes, claiming she presided over a board that made countless errors in judgment. I've asked repeatedly what specific code has been violated and what harm has come to anyone as a result of Annie Kerrigan's Facebook post, and there have been no answers. These are simply generalized inflammatory accusations without any supporting evidence. I find the whole petition to lack merit, as it is just the latest attempt to remove these two women from their leadership positions. And if this group was sincere in removing board members who have violated HAH rules or ethics, why didn't they include the board member who timbered his Eagle Claw lot and received an Article 9? The claim is that confidential information was shared is absolutely false. Legal proceedings are public information, even if you claim they are your private business. Threatening legal action in online forums or in spaces like the clubhouse become public information once it is shared. Attacking other members through the board become public information when those members are notified, and it is then our information to share as we wish. And openly violating club rules in plain sight is, well, public. You cannot besmirch, defame, libel, or slander anyone when what you are saying is fact. Truth is the ultimate defense. Finally, I want to speak directly to those petition promoters who have determined some of their neighbors are enemies and have created and fueled a community war. Stop, just stop. What you have been doing over the past year and a half has been destructive to the entire community. We can all live together peacefully, even if we vote for different people or believe in different things. But you need to stop perpetuating division under the guise of a false moral imperative to save our community. You do not speak for me. You do not speak for most other members. I support our board and the hardworking volunteers that make HAH a great community in which to live. Sincerely, Michelle Winship, Lot 302.
Okay. Cabot with the treasurer's report.
Yes, we had a balance at the beginning of the month, the beginning of September of 159,521.17. There was a fair amount of activity. Of course, things will begin to slow down now, but at the end of the month, the ending balance had actually moved up to $163,164.12, all told, with all the committees involved here. So with that, I would like to ask a motion to accept this report, this treasurer's report for the committees for September.
I second it.
Seconded by Linda Hodge. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Mr. Segafus, Management Committee report.
All right, thank you, Chaz. The RFID gate project took a step back as our vendor Signature Controls backed out of the project. We are working with Silco Fire and Security on a proposal. They had proposed on this project back in 2019. They are the RFID gate provider to other OLCA members. We actually talked to Lake Winoka, Jeff did, and they're very happy with their service, so we're going down the road with them. The management committee will be working on its 2022 and beyond capital and equipment depreciation budgets over the next several months with a target to present to the board in December. Many of the bigger projects include golf course improvements and lodge improvements that will take some time to get an accurate cost together. The food service committee is up and rolling again. They would like to ask the board to roll over their remaining amenity funds from 2021, as they have not been able to spend the funds with the lodge reopening and the committee taking a break over the summer. Food service committee is asking for $21,573.89 to be rolled over. $16K of that was for a new floor that was determined, kitchen floor that was determined not to be needed, and the remaining amount was for lodge remodeling. It's not fully spent. One of the items the committee is looking at is a commercial outdoor grill to be used for concerts. The Lakes Enhancement Project has been working diligently to put together a draft plan of maintenance and improvement. Rex Eberly will be presenting a plan later today. Our road safety initiative, this initiative is still ongoing with additional mirrors being put up and foliage being removed when maintenance has time. The chip and seal roads will be remarked after the roads are swept. And finally, management committee member. We will start advertising for a new management committee member later this month with interviews in November. Board will need to vote on a new member and chairman in December. Questions?
So Jim, and we can get to this under committee business and reports. You're asking that we vote on rolling over 21,573
89.
89. Of funds for the food services committee.
Correct.
Okay.
And Doug can.
Yeah, I've got that too.
Okay,
Member.
got it. Okay. Any questions, Jim?
I do want to say thanks to the management committee members who have stepped up. Last few times I've been to the lodge
that's
for dinner, you guys have stepped up to help because of the shortage of staff. And I know you've been doing that for a while, but I know the last couple of times Marty Bendokas came to dinner with his wife, Cheryl, thinking they were going to have dinner. Marty ended up working. Same with the Jeffers. So I just want to say thanks for you guys doing that, stepping into the breach there.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
I noticed that I was harassed by a board member the other night. Yes.
Careful, please. Okay,
Can I interrupt the meeting real quick?
you bet.
Got several people standing, got chairs here, guys. Want to come up and grab some chairs? Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's part of the disadvantage for the new configuration. I had to swap my chair. I don't have the worst chair in the house.
He's got oversee.
I did. I had to swap it out for one.
Who did you give it to?
I'm not saying. I put it back on the pile.
Okay.
Good move, Tim.
No problem.
This is me.
Well, okay. Okay, general manager's report, Mr. Harper.
There. Thank you for the well recovery earlier, Chaz. All right, we'll start with delinquency totals. Primary assessment delinquency as of last month on the 15th was 18,360. This month, as of 10/15, is at 22,766. Road delinquency as of 9/15 at 2,860, and as of 10/15 at 2,920. And those are both growing primarily because of the folks that were on the list last month that continue to be on the list, and the balances don't get smaller, and then they've got administrative fees and potentially legal fees added to. Lodge and clubhouse updates. Fall menu is out and the associated wine flights are in place. We did have to tweak it a little bit just based on staffing, which for the lodge is still a pretty big concern. Performance of the lodge comes up quite a bit. So just to say, we are $33,000 better than budget so far as of the end of September, and trending better financially so far than any year back to 2013. So I would fully expect that we'll end significantly better than budget at the lodge and at the clubhouse, which is currently showing a profit of $1,000 and some pennies, and about $9,500 better than budget. A reminder at the clubhouse, the back deck becomes a smoking area again on 11, and the shelter, the clubhouse shelter becomes non-smoking on that same date. November 1st was the date that was voted on and chosen and voted on. And then overall staffing updates, we are actually, maintenance is at full staff, security's down just one part-time position, looking to fill the spot that Roger vacated about a month and a half ago. That's all I've got.
Any questions for Jeff? Thank you. Committee business and reports. We normally just go around the room. Eric, we want to start with you.
We'll start with activities for youth. They actually have quite a few issues they'd like to have addressed. Starting off with, they would like to have breakfast with Santa on December 18th. And a snow date within the next 2 weeks after that, in case that happens. But
In case
December
we
18th,
can't get here.
case everybody else, Santa's in course, but in case people can. So I'd like to make a motion to approve December 18th for breakfast with Santa, and then makeups of within the next 2 weeks based on the schedule. After.
Second that.
Who seconded?
Tim.
Tim seconded. May I have all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So move.
Secondly, they would like to have a family game night up at the clubhouse on November 19th at 6 p.m. This is where you basically bring your own board games and so forth, and just going to have a family night at the clubhouse. I'd like to make a motion to do that.
Eric, what was the date?
November 19th at 6 p.m.
I'll second that also.
We got a second from Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So move.
Okay, next, they have, I guess they have things in just a little bit of disorganization from previous activities for youth and so forth, and they would like to spend $200 of their money to buy some totes to organize all of their stuff. So I'd like to make a motion to allow them to use $200 of their funds to purchase totes for organization.
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Linda Hodge. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And
So
moving
moved.
right along, and this is one I've kind of come up with on my own. The TNT cat program where they're neutering cats. They've got almost $2,000 in their account, and instead of us every time there's $50 here and $50 there doing an e-vote, I was like to make a motion that we allow up to $1,000 be made available for future neutering for the program. That way, I would just want a few less e-votes than we're getting. So,
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
okay, and that is all I've got. Thank you.
Eric, on that, would they just be submitting their seats afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, right now, what's happening? I probably should have this, but right now, I mean, Cabot helped me out here, but there's a lot of receipts that are coming in every time they spay and neuter, and it's normally $50 here and $50 there. Instead of us having to have an e-vote every time that happens, I just thought, let's allocate some funds, because that's where all those funds are going anyways.
So how would we end the procedure? How would that change the procedure now if you just have a lump sum sitting there waiting to be used? We wouldn't need to e-vote is what you're saying. We could just go right on to the writing the check for reimbursement.
That's what my
Yeah.
thought was, yes.
It's similar to what the chapel committee did.
Okay,
Yeah, I'd like the idea of reducing the votes. That's
Yeah.
helpful.
that's fine.
Okay. Tim?
I have nothing for the ORV, and Cabot has taken over the golf committee for the next couple months, so we'll take care of that when we get to him. That's all I have.
Okay. Linda?
I have nothing to report.
Okay. That moves to me. I've got two requests. One is for the tennis committee, the tennis and pickle committee. Would like to request carrying over $10,768. They have,
Cabot, is that yours?
What are you supposed to let go, Linda?
was that planned?
I think she was upset about that.
Okay, they'd like to request carrying over $10,768. They have escrowed in the amenity fund to 2022. They need it to repair the courts, and if not requested, they will lose it.
Second.
Seconded by Eric.
Actually, I don't know.
No,
You're right, I can't.
I would make that motion.
Okay.
And I will say.
And seconded by Eric, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. And then I also have for health and wellness, we need an approval for $7,490.02 for a ceiling installation for the workout facility.
I'll make that motion or second it or whoever needs to.
Okay.
Make the motion, I'll second it.
Okay. that's
So
good
moved
enough,
by
good
Doug
enough. All
Parker,
right.
seconded by Cabot Ray. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Can we make
So
a
moved.
note on that too, about the question that came in today relative to that?
Well, we can, but we don't I don't think we're down to the bottom of all the information. And
Okay,
Doug is referencing the fact that somebody saw, I assume somebody saw this distribution on the agenda for tonight, and they wanted to know when it was that health and wellness or the workout facility became an amenity and is being funded by club funds. And so I didn't get that until about 4 o'clock this afternoon. I circulated it as quickly as possible with my predecessor, Tom Matthews, who responded that short of the $1 sale of the building to us, that to the best of his knowledge, it was not being funded by club funds, and that it was all private donations. And then I got other folks weighing in. Julie Evans was one of them, and Joe Williams that said something to the contrary. So had a subsequent conversation with Mary Beth to try to get to the bottom of it so I could answer the question tonight. And I can't really tell you, if it is an official amenity until I get a little deeper into it and when it became one. So more to follow on that. Okay. And then I will go back upstream to the individual that sent the email and answer it properly.
well, I think it's important to note right now that they do have a fund,
Yes.
no matter how you want to describe it or anything else. We're not just suddenly turning, well, I think it's important to just make sure that folks know we're not suddenly turning over and writing a check for $7,490.
They have to request the funds to be released to pay the
Correct.
invoices.
Yeah, these are funds to be
regardless.
released that they have.
Yeah. So
Yes.
more to follow on that. We'll get official words and dates and things like that, and then and we can give a proper answer. Everybody okay with that? Okay, that is it for me, Mary Beth.
So the new member committee would like to hold their reception for new members in the lodge on May 21, 2022 at 11 a.m. through 1 p.m. So I'd like to make a motion to approve. Second.
Seconded by Linda Lonzinger. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So move for the date.
The new member committee would like to carry over their funds of $752.72. That has been designated binder, sleeves, printing of new member information, supplies for address signs. And they would also like to add to what they can spend that on, giveaway bags like goodies for new members and possibly on the new member reception. So I'd like to make a motion as well.
I'll second.
Who was that? Cabot, seconded by Cabot. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey, guys, real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt. Mary Beth barely here. Everybody else has been fine, but we can barely hear Mary Beth.
Okay. I just made a motion and it was approved for the new member committee to have the date of May 21, 2022, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Hopefully that's better and you guys can hear. Also, I made a motion.
Much better.
And it was approved that the new member committee could carry over funds of $752.72. And in addition to that, They could expand what that money could be used on. It was originally for tagging of and binders, sleeves, printing and new member info, supplies for address signs, and they would like to also include giveaway goodie bags for new members and any overage potentially on the new member reception. And that's all I have on new member. As far as the Utility Services Committee, they are working with Ginger Reed to make sure the Employee Christmas Fund is represented in the clubhouse and lodge. Anyone wishing to contribute should send their checks into the office with Employee Fund noted on it. And if you want, you can put your name on it, and that'll be placed on the lodge or clubhouse wall, Christmas tree, or you may remain anonymous. And there'll be more details in the November Echo. With regards to the power lines, the South Central main line is going underground, is ahead of schedule. And you can see the post office bulletin board if your home is affected and the details. They are offering to bury the line to your home at no cost. It's a great and limited opportunity, but it's your responsibility to bring the line inside your home. And as a subcommittee regarding the roads, 4 more mirrors and poles have arrived and will be installed shortly by maintenance when time and weather permits. The reflective road lines will be painted on the curves that were covered by chip and seal, along with new additional lines on curves. This will be done by maintenance with volunteers helping maintenance stay safe during the project. It'll be completed as soon as possible, weather and maintenance schedule permitting.
Okay. Linda?
Yeah, the communications group would like to request not more than $400 from committee funds for another Christmas banner and Christmas sticky notes to be used for the Employee Christmas Fund donors. Right now, they have 1 banner in the lodge, and people who donate can put up. And they want to do a second one for the clubhouse. So make a motion from their funds, communications committee, requesting not more than $400 for another banner and the sticky notes.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Doug Parker. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Is that it?
Yeah.
Cabot?
Okay. Pool committee, they wanted to let us all know they're making great progress. The retaining wall and grass area behind the pool will be available for use next season with the addition of picnic tables there. Also, we're currently in the process, they say, of installing a park-style charcoal grill by the pergola, which is next to the front gate. Hopefully, these additions will be used and appreciated beginning next season. And from the golf committee, there's a few things here tonight. They're really working hard to try to see what they can do about some of the greens on the golf course. We've had a number of people, and there are legit concerns. So I was asked to ask for a vote for the committee to spend up to $300 for a new green. The committee will purchase this green from a local golf course that is closing. They're going to be able to buy, in essence, the green for $200, plus a 20-pound bag of ryegrass seed, total not to exceed $300. And so I'd like to ask for a vote for that so they can get started rehabbing one of the bad greens with this. In essence, I think it's like a transplanted green from another golf course. So I'd like to make a motion for that to be voted.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
The golf committee is also working with Elmer and staff to start a new donor green on the course. It would be grown for the purpose of repairing or replacing a badly damaged green, so it wouldn't be used right away, but they would become a donor. Also, committee members are working on long-term projects, including increasing water volume on the course, increasing sprinkler coverage, replacing and improving the women's tee boxes as well. And hopefully, again, replacing more greens down the road. So that's it from the golf committee.
Thank you, Cabot.
And that's
You done, Cabot?
Yep.
Okay. Annie?
Yep. The social committee, as you guys all know, had a successful chili cook-off this past weekend. Congratulations to the winners. They're also preparing for another holiday home tour on December 11th. They're still looking for some more homes to be on the tour. So if you are interested, please reach out to Susan Lamp, Jill Vink, Kelly Williams, or Dee Dee Parker. They've been doing a lot of planning. So I have a number of dates that I'm going to list out, and I'll make a motion that we approve. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the social committee holding the following events and dates all in 2022. For the Hideaway Hill swag sale for next year, they'd like to do a merch madness for the entire month of March, selling golf shirts, t-shirts, and fun items like koozies, ice chests, and such. Memorial Day weekend, concert May 28th, Katie and the Red Hots at the amphitheater. Labor Day weekend, September 3rd, concert at the amphitheater with Pop Gun. Deck tour to be held on June 11th. Poker run to be held on August 13th with a rain date of August 14th. Tour of homes on December 10th. And tour of lights on December 1st through the 17th for judging.
So you
Okay.
made that motion?
Mhm.
I would second that.
Seconded by Linda Hodge. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I'd also like to make a motion to approve paying Pop Gun $17.50 from social committee funds as a deposit for the next Labor Day weekend concert.
Second.
Seconded by Linda Lonzinger. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Organic garden. They have a few beds that are still producing good vegetables, but for the most part, their garden is winding down for the year. There will be 2 beds available in the spring, and they've had 4 people on the waiting list. And they add 1 new gardener that they added in September. And for them, I'd like to make a motion to reimburse Marge Gear $39.50 from the Organic Garden Committee funds for cover crop seed that was made available to all gardeners.
Second?
Was that Tim?
No, that's me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Seconded by Doug Parker.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
That's all I have.
Okay,
All right.
Doug?
As long as we're requesting money. No. This is a food services committee. This is my first experience being the board rep for the food services committee. But in any case, they are requesting, as Jim noted previously, to carry over this year's amenities money to 2020 and 22. And that is, again, I got this figure right here. Number, yeah. $21,573.89. And I make that motion.
Is that going to be still allocated to the same things that the prior?
Well, I think the floor is not
The
on the,
floor's not gonna be
Yeah.
done, so I'll have to come back to the board with just the plan, once they get that plan together of what they would actually want to do with the money. It's like they're looking at outdoor grills,
Yeah.
they can handle concerts better, some lodge remodeling.
So there's a forthcoming change
Be a
to
forthcoming
that.
change.
Okay.
They just want to get it on the record to carry the money
Okay.
they met this weekend, right after in between the.
Did we
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
I'm
just gonna
sorry,
say,
sorry
wait
for
for you.
Sorry.
Is there a second? If not, I'll make that second.
Okay.
Seconded by Eric. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Just a couple other notes from their meeting this weekend. They were talking about the Halloween party at the lodge, and I believe that's the 30th, if I remember correctly. Okay. They've been having their own discussions about the staffing issues that we've obviously talked about before, and Jeff has talked about as well. And they're also discussing possible monthly events at both the lodge and the clubhouse. In other words, special events. So I have one request for funds, but I'm switching over to the Lakes Committee now. The pontoon removal went super. There were just a couple of almost hiccups kinds of things. Everybody needs to be reminded again that we don't have trailers that allow them to move tri-tunes. And I noted even myself that there are more tri-tunes on the water now too when I looked around on the docks the other day. So just something to keep in mind, and it is on the form. We found that it was on page 2 and everybody just wasn't paying attention to that. But you have to understand the difference in what kind of trailers you use to get pontoon boats out of the water, which I won't try to be an expert
So
about.
that being said, Doug, do we have one that moves?
No,
Those
those are
think
just
we did.
scissors trailers, that you can't use those because the third pontoon,
Yeah.
it would go like this as on the trailer, assuming you got it on there. But in any case, everything went well, and I'm trying to remember if there was anything else. I think they did 88 boats, which was a few more than, less than last year. The other important note about this, if people last year left their, or put their pontoons in the front lot, if you will, on the main road there, they don't need to do that this year because we have enough space for all of the boats in the one parking lot where they all are right now. And we are not allowing anyone to put their boats in that front lot. So don't do that. We did that last year just because of space concerns. We had more boats than this year, as I understand it.
Doug, I had seen one person that asked the question if they are having their boat wrapped, but not storing it in the storage area, where would they take that to have it wrapped?
I would
You know?
suggest I don't know that they've got any place to put it then. I'm
They
not
could-
sure.
They could put a 72-hour notice. and
Oh,
secure
that's
it
right, in the front lot, in that
Okay.
front lot, yeah.
Over by the shelter
Okay.
as long as
I just, I didn't recall seeing an answer to the question, so I figured I would at least ask.
Well, I just caution them that just remember that once they put it in there, they just have that 72 hours.
Right.
Because we are trying to keep that free of other things. And I think that was it for everything on that. It was an incredible day. I mean, and I've done the boat launch a number of times and the boat removal. But the bottom line is this year, I've never seen the winds like they were this year. So a note of appreciation for those crews, the dock people too, because I was out there and I know how that worked. But the people in the boats just were really, really challenged this year. So you don't realize how bad it was until you stand on those docks and watch those people try to get two boats into the wind. It's not very easy at all, especially this year. Anyway.
I might add, or if you tried to do it with just your wife, just saying.
Okay. The only other Lakes Committee meeting, you'll hear more from Rex, I'm sure, about and there are other things that are, I guess, are to be included in there, like the silt dam stuff. That'll be in there too, so I won't get into any of that. We've been conversing with the engineers on. But anyway, a request for money. Please request $1,800 for stocking walleye and smallmouth bass in Lake of the Four Seasons. Fish will be put in November. So I make that motion.
Is that Eric?
Gavin,
I'm sorry. No. Seconded by Cabot. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're doing pretty good there. for a while. Okay, is that it?
Yep, that's it. Move right along.
Okay. Yeah, Mary Beth had a question.
Okay. We have under key initiatives and the security portion, we have several people that have donated money for the security cameras and upgrades to the system, but we don't have anywhere to put that money, the donations. So, and Doug, I sort of think in fairness, but like Ken Yost, maybe we shouldn't vote on this tonight, but I was going to ask if long-range planning, if we could make a subcommittee that they could collect the donations through there. That seemed to be the most logical place to put it for right now, because we didn't have somewhere else to go with it. So maybe you can check with Ken and we can do an e-vote on that if he's okay.
I know who Ken is, but I don't,
are you not long-range planning?
not that I know of, not that I know of. No, okay,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I'm
Okay,
correcting
that's
you.
all right.
I'm
That's all
sorry.
right.
So Eric, will you check with him on that? And we can do an e-vote on that
And that's just to hold.
for the key initiative security camera donations.
Okay,
Form another subcommittee, right?
It's a subcommittee.
okay.
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
Okay. Anything else? All right, let's move to open forum.
Okay, we have, I think, 5 people who signed up to speak. So first, we have Jim Hiles. everybody, I'll be doing. No, only 5 people said they wanted to speak.
You're on there, Stephanie.
Yeah, most people said they didn't want to speak, but 5 did. And Jim, I'll do a timer, and I got you for 3 minutes. So I'll give you a sign when you got about 30 seconds left.
Okay. Hi, Jim Miles. Just want to address an issue. Seems to be a little bit of concern. First, what the agenda said for tonight. Executive session. That executive session is clearly there really that affects Highway Hills only 5 purposes for executive committee. Executive session. And it seems that some of the things that have come up on the agenda have been discussed in executive session.
You put your mic on, Jim.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Some of the things that have come up in executive session in the last couple of months may not have met that requirement for executive session. I do understand that some topics are not comfortable to discuss in public. That does not change the fact that there is guidelines that this board has to follow when it comes to executive sessions. And the instance I'll point out at the last board meeting, I believe it was termed as a proposed change to the building code.
It was.
ACC.
Yep.
That is not language like that. That is not clearly not covered in Ohio Revised Code for an acceptable use of executive session. So I just want to caution the board that with what's going, with things that are going on, more transparency is the answer, not less.
And Jim, I'll tell you that I take full responsibility for that. You had sent me an email after I did that. Quite honestly, the way that it was worded today was wrong. So I amended that, and your point is well taken.
I would just encourage everybody, because it is a difficult thing to sift through, because in Ohio Revised Code, it's really about 6 paragraphs. It's actually pretty easy to understand what qualifies. I mean, we don't have to worry about collective bargaining because they're employed. So that takes care of one of the 6. So I just encourage, the board as a whole, find that. If you'd like a link to exactly where it's at, so you can find, you don't have to sift through the entire Sunshine Laws book that's about that thick. I'll send it to you and familiarize yourself with it, because once again, it's kind of a important deal, and it makes eyes look where things they think might not be going appropriately. Thank you.
Thanks for your input.
Thanks. Let's see, next. I think it's Jeffrey. No, it's Greg Blank. Yep, Greg Blank.
Looks like it.
Hi, 2 things. Number one, the first thing is just kind of a public service announcement. When you go onto the Highway Hills page on the website and you look at the committee assignments, there's a button towards the top of the page or a link where you can click to see the committee assignments. Then at the bottom, there's another one. I think it's the top one takes you to this board's committee assignments. The bottom one takes you to the last board's committee assignments, some of whom obviously aren't here anymore. So might want to take a look at that so people don't get confused.
Appreciate that.
Okay. Second thing is, I really wanted to ask about the manner in which the petition is being handled. Chaz, I've watched your videos, I've read everything, I've looked at the facts, everything I can. I've read our code, I've read the Ohio Plan Community Laws. I cannot find anywhere where a process like the one we are using is outlined in anybody's rules. So I was hoping for more clarification on where that came from.
And so, I mean, can you break that down for us a little
Sure.
further? I mean, is it in the manner in which we want to vet the signatures? Is
Well,
it-
that's what I'm trying to figure out, because when you talk about verifying signatures, verifying signatures is usually done by a manner of, and I know you talked about using office time. You don't want to burn up office time to make phone calls and call people, but I'm trying to understand that the resistance to that process compared to potentially 6 weeks of repeated business interruption for the office while people are walking in and signing and doing what they're doing. So I'm trying to understand where this whole process came from, because we've never handled a petition like of any kind in the hills like this before. I can't find it defined anywhere in the rules, except if people have a grievance about something and want to exercise due process, they submit a petition. That's all I can find. So where did this whole process come from, and how did it get put together?
Sure. Yeah.
I can, Greg, just tell you that, like, for example, I mean, our code just says signature, okay? And I did a lot of research. I looked at City of Columbus, City of Hilliard, City of Dublin. And when a petition is submitted, the first step in verification is well, first of all, they have to be in ink. And whoever collected the signatures has to actually sign a statement saying, I witnessed the signing of those signatures. In the case of the City of Hilliard, it has to actually be notarized. Then it gets turned over, and the verification piece done by the city is verifying that those people were voters, and you know, that the address checks and that they are registered voters. So normally that process is somebody says, I attest to the fact that I saw, and none of them will accept anything that's done online for that reason.
Okay.
So,
okay.
and state of Ohio also is that way.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to figure out is where that piece came from. So a recommendation to the board, okay? And that is that for any petitions that are going to come up in the future, maybe the process needs to be better clarified so that people.
I think there's definitely an opportunity once we get through this and get it, you know, completely on the other side for us to go in and take a look at all that. Quite honestly, we're feeling our way through this just like everybody else is.
And unfortunately, that's what it feels like when you're looking at it from the other side of
I'm
things.
sure it does.
And that brings with it, obviously, a lot of questions and a lot of distrust and all of the things that we see.
You know, at the end of the day, and I think we've said it before, you know, we want to get this thing to a vote, okay? And we want to do it as quickly and as ethically as possible. You know, we've tried to help out. We've made some concessions. You know, we're trying to get to a vote as quickly as we can. So, okay. Appreciate the suggestions.
Jeff, did you sign up to talk? Looks like your name, we can't really read it. So Jeff, would you like to talk? It's lot 938. Is that?
Jeff
Lieberman. Should have known.
Trustee for that. I'm here tonight about the camera systems. We were looking at a camera system, Mr. Benokas and I, about trying an experiment for the lake. Well, we couldn't get a camera company who would put a camera up there and let us see what it would look like at night. So I called these two guys that work for me. They're former FBI agents, and that's what they did for the FBI for 20 some years, is surveillance cameras. And I had them come, they were in Indianapolis, and I had them come over here. They handle all my systems, and I got 40 systems all over the country in my apartment projects and shopping centers. Unless we put up some lights, which doesn't seem to be palatable to a lot of people here, you're not going to be able to put cameras at a reasonable cost onto the lake. There are Starlight cameras that would work very expensive, probably not worth the cost to the benefit. Okay. What I would like to know is, though, because I'm getting words from, over there at the physical new workout place, and then they're putting in this RFI system here. I'm used to doing it. I got a lot of these systems, and I'd like to know who is putting in these, who's making these decisions on these systems, and what their qualifications are to be making those decisions. In other words, we got somebody who, one guy said he called ADT. Man, ADT is the last guy you want to call. Okay. They're not in the business of serving. You can buy the stuff ADT sells you on the internet for less. So that's what I'm after. I think that something, either committee needs to be formed of people who are working on this kind of stuff, so that we have maybe systems that work together with each other, rather than having one system here, one system there. And my agents told me that the stuff at the front gate is so antiquated that it's not even funny. And we could replace it for just a couple $1,000 and we could have a system where somebody came up to the gate and said, I want to see Linda Lonsinger. And their name's Bill Smith. Guy at the gate calls you and says, Bill Smith here. Well, you don't know who Bill Smith is. You can take your phone, press it, and it'll show you a video, live video, who Bill Smith is down there. Okay? And that's the first step to eliminating some of the people that we have working here at the security gate, because at some point in time, you'll be able to come into the security gate, press a button, it will call you and say, hey, Bob, I'm here, Eric, and you can press a button, it'll open the gate. You'll be able to see them, and it'll open the gate. As far as Jeff goes, these cameras and equipment are all wireless. If we put them over at the physical place, the guys at the shack will have it on their DVR and be able to watch. We can put them all over the place. They even said we could probably put one at the far dock if they're for a daylight camera, and would work. Somebody could monitor it as well. So there's a lot you can do because they're all wireless. And you can do them with computers.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah. Thank you. Jim, do you want to?
Jim and I have talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's what I'm saying is I'd like to know who's on that committee, because no offense to anybody here, but some of these committees have people on them that have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. Okay.
Right.
And,
I don't disagree with you.
Okay.
Jeff, I think this probably would be a better question to come to a management meeting
Yeah.
and discuss it with them at a management meeting, because right now I'm just saying.
That is the committee in and of itself.
that's who it is.
Yeah.
Well, him and 6 others, five others.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just wanted to bring it up because I talked to Mary Beth a while ago, and we were Adokas and I were trying to get an experiment done, but couldn't get it done. So when these two guys were in Indianapolis testifying, they handle all the law enforcement requests we get for tapes, surveillance tapes. And I said, hey, why don't you come over here for a day? Let me show you around. So I brought him down here to look around. First thing he said was the front gate was, you need to change those cameras. What we need to do is put in front and back cameras in the gates. Also, license plate camera. And the fact of the matter is, these things aren't expensive. They're far less expensive than when you put them in 10 years ago.
Okay.
About a third of the price that they
All
are
right.
now.
That's something, Jim, you'll.
Okay.
We
fine.
appreciate your input.
That's
Thank
it
you.
for me.
Let's see, next we have Stephanie Wolf.
Members. I'd just like to acknowledge everybody and say this is a great thing that so many people are so involved in our community. So I'm just curious, and first of all, I'd like to reclaim my time for any of the board taking time to answer questions tonight. So I'd like to hear from the board why the sheriff is here tonight.
Sure. We had an Article 9 hearing this evening, and we felt it necessary to have the proper coverage here for the Article 9 meeting.
So if the Article 9 meeting is the only reason why the sheriff's here, then why is he being hired for so many hours? And what is the cost of having him here?
Jim?
It's $140.
And
The
how
management committee agreed 5 to have him here the whole time.
There was an ancillary benefit to having him here as well. During our last board meeting, things got to the point where we had people get up out of their chairs and approach the board. So we felt it was just a good benefit to have him here and enough time for the Article 9 meeting and the board meeting as well. We had people that actually approached board members and were out of order in doing so. So we wanted to make sure that we didn't have that problem because we had heard that there was going to be quite a few people here.
And so is that a regulation that, so when we come together to talk about our community that members are not allowed to approach board members?
Well, no, you can't get up out of your seat when it's not open forum and approach the table and interrupt the meeting.
So was
It's that simple.
recorded?
Was that recorded? I believe it was. Yeah. I think we'd have to double check the tape because it was right when we went into executive session and we had at least one person come up and approach these board members from behind and they were uncomfortable with it. So again, we said that we initially brought the sheriff in here to be here for the Article 9 meeting. There was, we felt it was good to have him here early enough for that. And we also felt there was a benefit to having them there because of what happened last meeting.
Regarding the timing of approaching the board, was there a break in there where you guys broke for executive session, or did a member physically get out of their chair during the board meeting and disrupt the meeting?
I believe I just answered that.
I didn't catch that. So
Okay, we'd have to look at the tape to answer that question.
I'm clear about when it happened.
I believe we need to look at the tape before we can answer that question.
So can I have the time?
Well, kind of, I paused it there. You've got about a minute and seconds.
Thank you. So I would like to just say on behalf of myself, there have been things against my character that have said about me. And on the record, what I would like to say is that Annie Kerrigan was required to apologize to me per her punishment. I don't know if you can call it an apology. She approached me and said that she regretted having made her Friday Facebook meltdown. I would like to just tell the community that with grace and loving kindness and neighborliness and community, I forgave Annie Kerrigan on a personal level. I hugged her the day that she apologized to me. I genuinely forgive her on a personal level. That being said, the issue that is facing this community is not one of attempting to protect her, but the fact that she has used her power of influence on committees, on ad hoc committees, as a VP on our board, with actions that are not in the best interest any longer of this community. She was head of the ad hoc committee called AHELP, which was supposed to maintain an equal candidacy for all candidates. I ran for the board. I was a candidate. She used her position on the ad hoc committee against me and to disparage me and other candidates. This is not okay that we have members sitting here on our board. Your first duty is to make sure that the best interests of this community are being served. And that is your first interest. And Annie Kerrigan, I would just like to say on the record, has proven in many aspects that she is not, it has the best interest of this community any longer. Thank you.
Okay. Who's next? Pat Lynch.
Good evening. Wow, I'd like to follow up. First of all, I think you guys are doing a great job. Ms. Kerrigan, I think you're doing a great job. I think a lot of these accusations that are brought against Ms. Kerrigan are, well, false. I, like yourself, I sit on a council. I sit on the council of Canal Winchester, and I'm very familiar with ethics violations and how they should be run and time it takes to actually work through them. You can do it several different ways. You can either do it through a vote of the constituents. You can actually take it to court. You can do a ruling by the board, right? The quickest, easiest way to resolve any kind of issues is to do a ruling by the board. That's what you guys did. It doesn't happen in every case, though. In case of my board, actions have happened. We try to bring it to the board. No ruling happens. It gets swept under the rug. You guys acknowledge what happened. The other thing with ethics violations is the fact that they take time. I don't know if anyone realizes you follow this thing through the state or a legislative body or a judicial body. Judicial body can take anywhere from 1, 2, 3 years to solve this. You run it through the state, it's going to take at least a year or two to get any kind of solutions. You guys acted on this immediately. Okay? There was something happened. It was acknowledged. You passed a judgment. The judgment was abided by. Case closed. So I applaud you for the speed at which you've done this. Okay? I don't know why we're actually going through this petition. So get to the part where I actually read. I can't remember all this that I put down. So as we know, a small group of people, members, I think this judgment that you came up with was inadequate. They choose to make a scapegoat out of 2 of our board members by filing a petition and try to bring the impeachment to a vote. This is their right based on our bylaws. I respect that. Our president, Mr. Cross, you did a great job of bringing forth this video to explain how this whole process worked. Your transparency, your communication to the community, fantastic. Thank you for that. In my professional and personal opinion, I do not wish to see Annie Kerrigan or Linda Longsinger step down from this board. I think you guys, you ladies, served this thing well. I believe it is wrong, ridiculous, and redundant to petition and possibly vote on this. A new election's coming up in 10 months. If anyone wants change, they can do change in 10 months. It's my hope that those involved with this petition who sign it choose themselves to run for the board so they too can face the same scrutiny. I've heard discontent that our bylaws do not address how to properly handle issues as stated in this petition. Hopefully those who wish to see the change can develop legislation and be a positive part of the change. Miss Annie Kerrigan, she's a dear friend of mine. I think she's served this community selflessly. It is my wish that all parties, for the sake of this great community, am I about done here?
You're about done.
Okay, just this is a nice finish here. It is my wish that all parties, for the sake of this great community, look at each other as humans, not enemies. Practice some empathy, understanding, forgiveness, and come together and heal. I believe all of you, and I also believe that an overwhelming part of our membership support these two ladies and also support everything that you guys do. I want to thank you for your service and thank you for giving me the time to speak and not cut me off. Thank you.
Appreciate your input, Pat. Okay, is that it?
That is all.
Okay. We have no unfinished business to cover tonight. And that moves us to reaffirming the e-votes with Mary Beth.
Okay. I'll read the 8-0 votes first. August 19, reimburse Greg Patassin, 7640 for organic garden, gasoline, propane mower, tire repair, plus 42 for Drake Reese for veggie spray. August 19, reimburse Eric Hoysko.
You're doing last month's e-votes.
I mean, they were nice. Really important.
That's what she attached to the end.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Tim.
You're welcome.
I don't feel so bad about not being able to hear people.
It's one of those days. Okay, I'll start with the 8-0 votes again for a different month. September 22, to sell lot 1684 for the offer price. 9/24, accept the resignation of chairperson Marty Gossett on the new member committee and appoint co-chairs Kathy Boysko and Cindy Lynch. 9/27, reimburse Greg Patassin for 193.03 for the organic garden pergola cover. 9/28, to pay 734.44 for the new member reception out of new member committee funds. 9/28, reimburse 112.61 out of golf committee funds to reimburse Sherry Panacea for drinks and snacks for Calcutta tournament. 10/7, to change the fall AFY bonfire to 10/15.
Did you skip 929?
Well, I was doing the 8-0.
Okay. Oh,
Thank you though for watching out for me.
I'm watching.
10/13, establish an official Hideaway Hills email account for officers of the board, which remain with Hideaway Hills in the future and transition to new officers annually. To establish a compassion subcommittee to the chapel committee, for the chapel committee to facilitate charitable outreach. To reimburse Kelsey Witt $220 and Hartman $10 from the TNR Feral Cat Program. 10/14, reimburse Carl Granzow $255.42 for purchase of foam blocks for pontoon storage. 7-0 votes. 10/15, allow Kelly Pierce to put a notice on the lodge board to announce Joe's Sunday service at 2. 10/7, reimburse Rick Evans from the golf funds in the amount of $364.70 for night golf. And finally, 9/29, approve payment for Health and Wellness Committee, the bill to Legacy Finishing Systems in the amount of $9,634 for spray foam and labor.
Okay.
No, you make the motion to accept these votes. So,
Motion to accept the votes.
Oh,
Seconded by Linda Hodge. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? So moved. Okay, that takes us to new business topics and Mr. Rex Epperly.
So, board trustees and membership. Our Lakes Enhancement and Protection Project. Before I get into the details, I really want to thank my project team. And when I say a team, a project team, because this isn't a long-standing committee. This was put together just to provide this information to the board of trustees and the management committee. And then it's our hope that we will then
determine a committee structure to go forward and move forward with this. So that's what we had. But my project team was Sue Pyle, who took care of the water depth working group. And my gosh, Sue has just got a wealth of information. If you've lost an anchor anytime in the last 3 years, she probably knows where it is. David Parker took care of the water quality. Marty Bendokis on the infrastructure. We had help from Miss Linda Lonsinger, Tom Matthews, Kathy Boysko, and Clint Mercer. So these folks did all the work. I just get to come up here and talk about it. So I want to appreciate all of those for doing that. This project was initiated by the management committee in the fall of 2020. A member request for a dredging project was submitted to the management committee, but we had to deny that project because A, we didn't have the funds, but even more importantly, we didn't know, was that the best place to start dredging? Was that, you know, would we need a silt trap in front of that? We didn't, you know, we only had a few days to make a decision, and it just didn't make sense to make that decision. So Jim said, hey, we need a plan for these lakes. We need to understand how we're going to invest in them, understand how we're going to manage them. So that's where this team came about. We kind of started aiming just at Lake of Four Seasons, but it came really clear that this plan needed to cover all of our lakes, and so we kind of morphed it into that. We started. I believe you all have this. We started with a project charter. I'm not going to go through the charter, but I will say that it's really helpful as we do other projects like this to use something like this, because it keeps everybody online and understanding what the final goal of the project is. And so we did that. We also produced a final draft report, and I'm just going to go over some of the highlights. So we have some general statements and recommendations that the team came up with. We're stating these in this as a draft, and we're hoping that you as a board of trustees will approve these as our community recommendations. So all of our Hideaway Hills lakes are special and need to be protected so they continue to provide enjoyment for members and guests for many years to come. Hideaway Hill lakes increase property values and recreational opportunities for all members. Membership should share in the cost of protecting and improving our lakes. They're for everybody. The management committee is responsible for the maintenance and improvement of Hideaway lakes. And we put that in because in years past, there's been a lot of movement that, well, that's a lakes committee thing. And we didn't believe that. We'll kind of get into that in a little bit in the document, but we believe management committee, the lakes are an infrastructure, and the management committee that's our responsibility. So the board of trustees and the management committee may assign lakes enhancement related tasks to either other board of trustees approved committees or develop a standalone lakes enhancement committee. And that's kind of where you all come in. You handle the committees, and it's your decision. Do we make this a part of an standing committee, a subcommittee, or do we bring it out as a standalone committee? So we'll let you guys work on that. Operation and maintenance of lakes should be funded by operations, the capital fund, possibly the depreciation fund, or special assessment funds. But we do not believe that operation and maintenance of the lakes should use amenity funds. Amenity funds should be limited to projects that enhance enjoyment or activities on and around our lakes. And I think you'll start seeing that through the management committee. And Jim, I hope I'm not overstepping my bounds, but we're starting to look at that same thing, not just with lakes, but with the golf course, with this building, the lodge building, and other things, so that we're planning out into the future for these items and not just getting caught by surprise on stuff. Next thing is, we believe that Hideaway Hills should target investing at least 5% of the club's annual budget on protecting and improving our lakes. We need to invest in them every year. It can't be we only do it when we have money, because what happens then is we have another failure somewhere down the line, and that 5% comes 20% for a special assessment or who knows what. So we need to continually be investing in these lakes to keep them in good condition. Now, these expenditures, we're not saying we're just going to go spend $105,000 every year. expenditures would still be voted by the Board of Trustees, the Management Committee, and it may be 5% this year, it may be 3% the next year, it might be 5.5%. But just a general target rule is what we think we need to look at.
Rex,
Yes.
in this, for 2021, you said it's about 105.
Yeah.
What are some of the big projects that would have come out of
Okay,
that 105?
Sure. What we're looking at doing, and this is a good time to do it, even though I kind of catch it down below.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't.
No, that's fine. No, this works really good. So I did lay out a spreadsheet, but I really didn't want to tell the committee what they had to do. But the way I looked at it is, so for every time we dredge an area of a lake, we need to make sure that we've got a silt trap to protect that section. So if we're going to dredge a cove, we need to put a silt trap in first, so we don't waste the money dredging the cove. So we got to have a stair step thing. And so the first year we would have an engineering study, then we'd have a silt trap, and then we dredge. And then we would just keep staggering those. So we would do that on 1 or 2 sections, 1 or 2 coves, 1 or 2 smaller lakes. And then every year we just keep stair stepping that. So we do another engineering study, we come back and we do the silt trap from the previous engineering study, and then we dredge. And we just keep continuing. And then obviously that's only part of it. There may be infrastructure things we need to spend on for the other dams or Eagle Claw. There may be drainage issues and drainage pipes that need to be repaired. So those all kind of fit into it. I'm going to tell you that the 5% was a little bit scientific and a little bit of this.
I was just going to ask that
Yeah.
question. Did you back into the 5% with a dollar amount, or?
I kind of worked the dollar amount.
Okay.
And that engineering review, silt trap dredging was kind of like $89,000 a year if my estimates are close. And then so there's always going to be other things, and that's where that came.
Okay, thank you.
Did that answer the question?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. All right. So we broke into 3 groups. We had, like I said, the water quality working group, we had water depth working group, and then we had infrastructure. So the water quality group has already initiated the first round of water quality testing of all our lakes. They've also reached out to local universities and some other organizations to learn about how to protect the water. The main thing is our water quality is absolutely fantastic in all of the lakes. And I know that they plan on doing some more testing, even though we don't have a committee yet. And we hope to hopefully in the spring kind of release those results, but it's just fantastic. So what we want to do with that is keep testing annually, actually more than annually, I mean several times a year on a schedule, report that to the membership annually. But then also we need to do things to educate both our members and our employees on things that we can do to protect that water quality. And there's a lot we can do from, well, we're already doing it with picking up the aggregate from the chip seal, picking up the road debris and not putting it into the ditches. Things we can do at the golf course, plantings that folks that live on the lake can do to protect the lake. There's just a whole lot that can be done. And that's what this section of the committee was, or the project team was working on. So the water depth group is looking at why are we losing water depth? Well, it's from silt intrusion. And it is interesting to me that we're getting silt intrusion enough that we have to dredge all the time, but it's not really affecting the water quality. And that just means to me we're very lucky about what's upstream of us. But we're still getting silt in our lakes. So we need to do plans to stop that silt intrusion and get it out so that we can get the lakes to as close to the original depth as we can using dredging. There's discussion, do we build a dredge in-house? Do we hire it out? How do we do that? I'm going to let the next committee make that determination, because that's a big thing. And we'll just have to continue on and watch how we do that. See if I caught everything. And again, there's things that we can do as a community to slow that silt infiltration to keep that from going. The infrastructure working group recommends that we do a full infrastructure assessment to develop a baseline of the current state. We implement a plan to complete state recommended actions for Eagle Claw, which are weekly monitoring the lake drain solution and complete and file the OMI, which is operations maintenance inspection document. And we're working on that as a management committee. We also need to complete any ODNR reporting requirements for lofts and other lakes, and monitor Lake Tomahawk leakage and develop a repair strategy. So those are infrastructure items that we'll be working on. So what are the next steps? I'd like you all to take the month to take a look at this document. Make sure you agree with it. If you have some, as a board of trustees, if you want to come back and go, yeah, we're not comfortable with that, make some recommendations. If you are comfortable with it, I would like Board of Trustees to say, yes, we agree with your recommendations. And here's how, let's make a decision. Do we add this to the Lakes Committee as a subcommittee, or do we make a separate committee that's, to me, the Lakes Committee it should be on fun activities of the lake and enjoying the lake. And this is kind of the down and dirty part work of the lakes to keep them the way we want them. So those are two actions for you all. And then once those things are done, we can go to work, because I got a project team that's really wanting to jump into those committees and get going. So any other questions?
Man, well done.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Brett.
thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah.
If anybody's got any questions, you can email me or call me.
And so you're looking for a little something out of the board?
Yeah, I think these statements need to be agreed upon by the board, so that in future we know where we're going, that we're not gonna let ourselves get caught again by problems that we know are gonna come.
Yep.
Does your group have desire to be either a subcommittee or regular? I mean, is there?
I would really, Sue's kind of got some ideas on that, and are you comfortable, Sue, how you want to answer that, or?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The question was, what is the group, do they want to be a full-fledged committee, or do they want to be part of a subcommittee? And I guess why?
I don't know if anybody had Linda, do you remember? I don't think anybody had a specific either way.
Myself, I think this needs to be a full-blown committee. I mean, that's just my thought, after hearing what I did. I mean, this is important. This is as big as it gets.
So everyone's on board. Yeah.
Yeah, and
crowded.
I'm nervous making more
This is a good
subcommittees, and I think something of this magnitude warrants a full, but we've got, we'll take the month and digest what you put in front of us. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's get the signs in front.
Now, full committee status though means that you would be entitled to some amenity funding, which you had mentioned earlier that it maybe shouldn't be for that, but that's what committee status is.
Yeah.
So.
Could be a.
Sure.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
And that's, but it's important, that's for sure.
Yeah, how about we commit to putting this on next month's agenda, and we will have been familiarize ourselves more with this and have a chance to ask questions, and we'll give you some input.
Go ahead and send out that Excel spreadsheet, and just know that it's more was just a working draft for me. It's not a true recommendation of what I say we do, but it's one way that. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Rex. Okay, that's good stuff. Old business topics, board email addresses. Linda, I know you're.
Yeah,
pretty passionate about
we had
this.
talked before about getting a central single email address for the board that members could use. We've purchased that. We also we voted to get 4 additional email addresses for each of the officers. The reason we went ahead and did that now is they gave us a price. They're going to go up next year. And if we did that right now, if we thought we would ever want them, we've got the current price locked in for a year. And the advantage of that is there's really nothing that happens when officers change over. All you do is change the password. So we don't have to go through any kind of changing names or anything. And that's really in case there are times when an officer wants to respond directly with that email address. The regular board address will automatically be forwarded to everybody on the board, to your personal email address.
Any questions? Okay. New members.
New members, I announced the club sold lots here too. Came with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we sold lots 779 and 780. And new members are Kyle Ramey, lots 374 and 375. Kevin and Karen Helm, lots 638. Jonathan Mark and Carrie Ann Pitts, lots 840 and 842. Andrew and Melanie Stevens, lot 1036. That's all.
You can make a motion to accept them.
I would like to make a motion to accept the new members.
I'll second.
Seconded by Cabot. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I need a motion to adjourn to executive session.
So moved.
Uh,
Yep, I did. Okay.
Moved by, and seconded by Linda Lonzinger. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I was making a motion.
Recording. Somebody's gonna need to unmute that computer. It muted going into. There we go. All right, we're recording.
Okay. Okay. I'd like to call back to order the October 19th, 2021 Hideaway Hills Club Board of Trustees meeting. In executive session, we had a discussion that centered around committee guidelines and that we would, in the committee approval process, rely on Robert's Rules of Order if it is not addressed in the code. And we'll send out an e-blast confirming that message to the general membership. We also reviewed procedures for offers and counter offers on the sale of club lots. And as far as the Article 9 threatening club employee hearing that was scheduled for tonight, it has been postponed. We have not heard back from the individual that we sent the communication to. And we will wait to hear from him to determine how best to proceed with that next month. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved. So moved. Okay.
I'll second.
So
All in favor?
Lonzo.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.